Hi, this is Mrs. Miles again, recording another higher GCSE maths question. This one again is one of the ones from the end of the paper. I will do some from earlier on in the paper. If you're doing this topic by topic, this is a calculator on our paper and it is simultaneous equations. Now if you get them earlier on in the paper, they probably won't look like this, okay? And what I want you to get into the habit of doing is when you get into the exam, you see this one, you think, ugh, okay, x squared and y squared is 9, which coincidentally is the equation for the for a circle. That's another conversation all the time. So you got this one here, ugh, okay, powers, okay, and then you got this one here, which is not as bad, okay. Now, when you get one like this one here, called the hard equation, this one here, I think of as the easier one, okay? So with these ones here, simultaneous equation can either be solved by elimination, which is the signs are same, subtract, signs are different, add, which will be a conversation for another day. Or when you've got ones that look like this, the easy equation gets substituted in to the more difficult one. So that means that you replace this one with either x equals, or you could replace this one with y equals. Now the problem we've got at the moment is we've got this, x add y equals 2, and at the moment x is not the subject or y is not the subject. So we could make x a subject, so cover it up, do the opposite. So to get rid of the plus y, we take y from both sides. So x is 2 take away y. You could have put y to be the subject and you would have had y equals 2 take x. Makes absolutely no difference. You just what comes naturally in the exam. Now we've got x as the subject, so what we're going to do is every time we see x in this original equation, we're going to replace it with this. So instead of x squared add y squared equals 9, and I'll regret not using the space more y's in a minute, we replace that x with 2 take y, because x is 2 take y. So we're 2 take y all squared. Now the reason that squared is there is because x is squared, therefore that, which is x, is squared. Plus y squared equals 9. Now you've got an equation with just one unknown in it, so just with y's. Now how many brackets do I want to see here? I want to see 2, because square means times by itself. So 2 take y times by 2 take y, add y squared equals 9. So right, okay, what do I not like the look of? Brackets, so FOIL, first, outside, inside, and last. So minus y times minus y is positive y squared. Now this bit here that you've just done, which I'm going to underline in orange, so that bit there is equal to that bit there. The reason I've done that in orange is so that you don't forget that this bit here hasn't gone anywhere. So now we add y squared equals 9. Now what do we do now? Do what most of you don't do at home. I'm talking to my ex-11s now, which is tidy their rooms. So apparently that's what they tell me. So tidy it up. So you've got a y squared plus another y squared. Now you might not have started with the y squareds. I start with the highest power and then work my way down. Then I've got minus 2y, take away another 2y, so I'm taking 2y, taking another 2y, so I'm taking 4y. Then I've got plus 4 equals 9. So I've got 2y squareds, take away 4y, and then that, the reason that's a plus is that's a positive 4, there's no minus in front of it. Now, it says, give your answers to 2 decimal places. What I've ended up here is with a quadratic equation, which means that there are 3 ways I can solve it. I can either solve it by factorisation, completing the square, or the quadratic formula. Now the fact that it says 2 decimal places is a reminder that I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula, which you need to look up in the front of your exam paper. But to solve these equations anyway is not essential, but it will work for all of them. I always make them equal to 0 first, which means that I must take 9 from both sides. So I get 2y squared minus 4y minus 5 is equal to 0. Now, we're going to use the quadratic formula. If you try to factorise it, okay, you'll find that it won't factorise. There's 2 decimal places tells you that it will, and later on I will do some that involve factorising. So this is when we look up the formula. So if you go to the front of your formula sheet, unfortunately I don't have one, so you can see, you'll find this formula and it will say for ax squared, so it will say for ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and then it will say where a is not equal to 0, because obviously the reason that's there is if that was equal to 0, sorry, so you can see, we'd have just a linear equation, what, no x squared, and you wouldn't use this formula, okay, to solve an equation. So you look it up and it says minus b, finger space, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac. This bit here is discriminant, but again, that's only you do that if you're doing A level, all over 2a. Now when you look at this formula, you think, well, hang on, where does everything come from? A is the number in front of the x squared, or in this case y squared, so that's the a bit, so a is 2. B is this bit here, so that's the b, and this bit here is equal to c. Okay, so I sub in, if in doubt, sub it in. So I've got minus 4, finger space, don't want to lose the equal sign, plus or minus the square root of. Now, I know that you're going to be very good and put it in brackets, or if you're not, you're going to make sure you remember that minus times a minus is a plus, but we'll talk about that in a second. So we do 4 times 2 times c, which is negative 5, all divided by 2 times a, which is 2. So you're going to get marks for just doing that, okay? Now I've got minus minus makes a plus, okay? So we get positive 4 plus or minus. If you don't want to put the positive 4 in, you don't have to. Now the reason I've done this is because if you put into your calculator, you know, you're thinking, Miss, you're so sad, you've got another different calculator. That's what happens when you're an old maths teacher, you collect calculators. You put that in and it will say minus 16, and we all know that anything squared means times by itself. Minus 4 times minus 4, a minus times a minus does not make a minus, it makes a positive. What your calculator is doing, the reason it's coming up with minus is not because it's rubbish. I mean, look at it, this can't be rubbish, okay, is it's doing bid math, so it's squaring first. 4 squared is 16, then it's putting the minus on, subtracting. So that's what that bracket's there for. Now I'm going to work this one out without the calculator. So a minus times minus is a plus, so either put plus 16 or leave it as 16. So you can see it. So we've got 16. Now here I always copy that sign there. 4 times 2, so that's dealt with. 4 times 2 is 8, times by negative 5. Now 8 times 5 would be 40, so 8 times negative 5 is going to be negative 40. Okay, so this bit here is negative 40. We already had the minus there. So this bit here is the negative 40 bit. That bit was from there. All over 4. Now, what would happen if you forgot that negative, which is what a lot of you were doing before? You would end up with a negative value. And until you do A level, you won't be able to do a square root of a negative number. Well, you can, but you won't understand why. So this bit here, minus minus plus. So we end up with positive 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 add 40. So you could put this all in with a calculator in one go, but the problem is without enough brackets you'll end up in a big old mess. So there's my solutions. So it's either 4 plus root 56 all divided by 4, or 4 minus root 56 all divided by 4. See why I'm regretting not using this space properly in a minute. Remember, put your hand up in the exam if you need to. Oh, syntax error, what's going on there? So I've either got 4 plus root 56 equals, because all of that is divided by 4, or you could bracket that, divide by 4. Don't just press divide by 4, because otherwise it will just be the end bit that gets divided by 4. So one solution for y, because remember this is to find out what y is, and I've put an x there, but we're finding out the value of y. So y is either 2 point, now it says to 2 decimal places, so 2.87. The other solution is 4 minus root 56 equals, and then divided by 4. So we get negative 0.87. So they're my y values. Now you've got to find out what x is. If in doubt, sub it in. So here's the formula for x. X is to take y, so I'm going to sub in to find y. In fact, that's not the best one to use. If I know that x add y equals 2, to find y is to take x. So if in doubt, So, take that back. I'm trying to find x. What is going on? That was the right one. Apologies. Even people in maths degrees make mistakes. I bought these fantastic pens. Courtney, I bet you love this pen. Right, so we're trying to find x, so we sub it in. So we're going to sub in this y value first. So I do 2 take away 2.87. So 2 take away 2.87. We shouldn't really round in the middle, but it's not going to make any difference. So we've got negative 0.87. So when I put the 2.87 in there, I ended up with negative 0.87 there. And then to find the other value, I do 2 take away whatever the y is. So 2 take away minus 0.87. You probably will be able to just see that, but 2 plus 0.87. Or put it into your calculator and you'll get 2.87. Now, it is a coincidence, okay, it's because of this nature of this bit here. It won't always be that that's the same as that and that's the same as that. What you have is 2 pairs of solutions, okay. Now, I know that seems a lot of work, and remember, if you run out of space, you ask for, you know, more paper. But the key to this, the places where people make mistakes, is that they forget this squared here, okay, that they forget this one here. When they get to here, they forget to make it equal 0 first, and it has to be equal to 0 first. The other places that people make mistakes are here, so they'll end up with negative 16, and here they'll end up with a positive 40. Remember, if you get a negative in there, go back and just check what you've done, because at this stage that should always be positive in the bracket, sorry, in the square root. Anyway, I hope that helps, and I will be back again tomorrow. Take care, bye bye.